Hello, Tina, and welcome to the Needham channel. We are very excited to have you today to talk about your candidacy and your experiences, your priorities. First, can you introduce yourself to us? I know you have a small business. Can you talk about that and also your connection to Needham?
Thank you for having me here today, Yuzhao. I'm really excited to be here talking to you and speaking to the Needham community about my candidacy. My name is Tina Burgos, and I have been living in Needham for the past 12 years with my husband and my twin daughters, Gemma and Riley. They are freshmen at the high school. We moved here primarily because of the school system. We left Boston, and we've been enamored with the community ever since. So in my professional life, I have owned for almost 20 years a retail clothing and lifestyle shop called Covet & Lou. For 5 of those years, we were located in a brick and mortar space on Great Plain Avenue here in Needham. And about 3 years ago, I would say, we moved the shop to Newton Highlands. I really loved being in Needham, but particularly after the pandemic hit, the economic vitality of the downtown wasn't able to support my business to the point where it is now. So we relocated to Newton Highlands.
And I know you also have been involved in town business. Can you give us an introduction on that front?
Yes, of course. So as part of when I was a small business owner here, I was on the Council of Economic Advisors for almost 5 years. I am also currently the chair of the Human Rights Committee, which is advisory to the Select Board. And I sit on the Real Coalition to the Public Schools. The coalition really looks at diversity, equity, and inclusion issues throughout the school system. The last meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago, we did a workshop on restorative justice. And it was an eye-opener for me to get a better understanding of what is restorative justice and how one can incorporate that successfully into schools. And honestly, it's something that people can incorporate in their lives. I also just wrapped my time with the Needham Resilience Network, which was an amazing program that helped me hone skills for communicating with others respectfully through difficult situations.
As the current chair of the Needham Human Rights Committee, can you tell us a little bit about the committee? What are the responsibilities of the committee?
So the committee is we're a group of 12, however, we have 2 open seats currently. And the group also includes 2 high school students. So we have a range of different folks with different experiences, life experiences, who have passion for and an interest in human rights. We do everything from education, outreach, advocacy, and assisting with citizens and other organizations who may have felt like they have experienced some sort of situation of bias or hate.
Are there any specific programs or projects that you want to share with the audience, the programs that Human Rights Committee have made?
So I do want to say first that all of us on the Human Rights Committee, it's important to note that we have to take our bias out of these situations in order to understand a diverse range of people's needs, challenges, passions, things that they want to accomplish. That is first and foremost our primary goal, is to really be able to listen to understand. And with that, many things have come out of the work that we've done. Currently, we are working on a discrimination complaint process where if a citizen of Needham, somebody that works in Needham, or even somebody that's traveling through town, thinks that they have experienced an incident of hate or bias, we are one resource out of many, but we are one resource where people can come to talk about the issue and try to seek some sort of remedy. We are in the process of finalizing the details on that, and we're hoping to fully launch that over the next few months, but that has really been something that we've been working hard toward for the past couple of years. As far as outreach is concerned, right now we're putting together a community conversations on race, and it's really about looking at the state of race in Needham in a multifaceted way. So we'll be incorporating the schools, we'll be incorporating the police department, we'll be incorporating folks from mental health providers, from housing. So we're kind of we're taking a very holistic approach to race, what that means in general, how do we talk about it in a respectful manner, and how does that affect all of our citizens here in Needham? Because it doesn't just affect people of color, it really does. DEI work is for everybody. And then we're also working hard to put together another multicultural festival. We put together our first townwide festival last spring, and it was a tremendous success. I don't think any of us expected the turnout that we received at Powers Hall. So it was a massive, massive endeavor, and we're hoping to get something kicked off very similar to what we did last spring in the fall.
Why are you running for select board this year?
So the timing was right. I've actually been recruited by folks over the past couple of years to join the board. I feel like the timing is right now for several reasons. First of all, my children are in high school now. They're a little bit more independent, so they don't need as much hand-holding from me as they did in the past. The Human Rights Committee is in a really good spot right now. We are a very strong group of people that is working really hard and diligently to implement the programs and continue to foster the relationships that we have. So I feel like it's in really good hands. And thinking about the breadth of work that I've done here in town, whether it's with the schools, whether it's with the Human Rights Committee, whether it's with the small business community, I feel that I have a lot of experience personally and professionally to be able to address a lot of the concerns of our citizens. And as a woman of color, I think I'm going to bring a very unique perspective to the board. It's really important, I think, for other minority groups to see a similar face in leadership. And I'm hoping that it will compel people to action. I'm certainly doing this for my children as well. It's very important for me that they are civically minded human beings. To be a good citizen of this country and your community, it's important to get involved in whatever way that you can. So that's why I'm running.
What are some of the concerns that you have heard, and how do you plan on addressing them?
So I think there are a lot of issues right now that are facing our residents, and a lot of serious issues. The one issue that seems to be on the top of everybody's mind right now is affordable housing, particularly with the MBTA Communities Act. And affordable housing is very difficult, and it's very complicated because there are so many different types of affordable housing. We're talking about low-income individuals. We're talking about the invisible middle class. We're talking about seniors and empty nesters. We're talking about folks who are young families who are just starting out. So it's a range of very complicated housing issues that we need to try to address and not marginalize anybody while we're doing that. I also think that we need to, obviously, a very pressing issue right now is the storm drainage issue. There are immediate concerns. I had a little bit of flooding last fall. I certainly did not lose what so many of my other neighbors and citizens in town lost, but I am 100% supportive of the efforts that the town is implementing in order to make sure that these types of issues don't happen again. But that, again, we need to take a multifaceted approach. So it's climate change, it is development, it's folks being educated about their properties and how to use them, how to develop your own properties in a way that will hopefully prevent flooding from happening. We're talking about people's sanctuaries, we're talking about people's homes where they feel safe. And so to have that constant fear of, is this going to get destroyed, or am I going to have to continue to sink financial resources into this place that I call home? It's very unsettling, and I completely understand that. I also think that education is important. Now, the school committee is fantastic here. I think Dr. Gudikants is doing an amazing job. The select board can help support a lot of the goals. I'm very passionate about the strategic plan to move the Portrait of a Needham Graduate forward. It really addresses a lot of DEI issues, whether it's the curriculum, whether it's in our student population, staffing and administration. I think it's really important to continue moving that forward, and we do a lot of that work in the Real Coalition. And then climate change, I think, is something that we really need to talk about. It's very nebulous, And it's a scary term, and I think that people don't really have an understanding of climate change because it does seem like it's so overwhelming. But we can definitely take some small steps as individuals to try to create a positive change within our community.
Speaking about the flooding that affected so many households last summer, do you believe the town's response could have been improved?
I agree with a lot of the action that's happening now. It's hard to look back and say, this is what we should have done, because we weren't expecting this type of storm. Nobody could have predicted that, right? Mm-hmm. So I think going forward, a lot of the things that Karis at the DPW and the folks on the select board are doing now, as far as doing walkthroughs with my neighbors and talking to people about their issues and trying to figure out, how do we prevent this from happening again? I think they're moving in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And it's become a priority, and I think that we need to continue pushing that agenda item forward.
All right. Are there anything else that you want to share in terms of your vision for Needham or your candidacy in general?
I do think that we want to continue to progress our town, but it has to be done with fiscal responsibility. And I am very aware of that. I have managed a small business very successfully. I'm very familiar with budgeting, profit margins, cutting costs, making sure that expenses are in line. And I think that skill can definitely be applied to our town. Mm-hmm. I think also I have the strength of relationship building. I may be new to policy, and I'm confident that I can ramp up on policy pretty quickly, but relationship building is definitely a strength that I have relied on all my life, whether it's personally, in my work with my shop, and here in town, with a lot of the work that I've done with the various organizations with which I've been involved. And I think that in order to be a successful government or any successful organization, you have to be able to develop relationships, be able to speak to people with respect, collaborate, and listen to understand.
All right. Thank you, Tina, so much for coming and speaking to me today, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.